A recent study is revealing a concerning trend, especially for parents with children of color. The Journal of Osteopathic Medicine says children are experiencing more racism these days. Amy Hendricks-Dicken is a senior staff research assistant in the Department of Pediatrics at OU Tulsa. Thank you for being with us, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you were interviewed by Fatherly.com. We're happy to have you on today to talk about this. So you were interviewed by Fatherly about this study, saying from 2016 to 2020, you found the percentage of children who reported experiencing racism grew by 2.6%. So what group is experiencing the uptick of this?
Yeah, so this was a great study that was headed by a mentor and colleague of mine, Dr. Micah Hartwell from OSU College of Medicine at the Cherokee Nation. And so we were kind of looking across all of these different groups to see who is experiencing racism and at what rates are they experiencing. And so what we found is that Indigenous and Black children were the two groups that were really experiencing the brunt of this discrimination as it was increasing over time.
Any ideas about, either from the survey or from your study, about what could be behind it, different factors driving it?
So we didn't explicitly look at that, but I think that there are a lot of things that can be considered. One of those things is really just history and what we're teaching people. History is really written by the victors, and no one wants to be the villain in their own story. And so we're minimizing a lot of times the history of minority groups, which then leads to stereotypes and misunderstandings about the things that individuals have gone through and different groups have gone through.
In terms of, what children are exposed to, I have a 4 to 2-year-old myself, and what they're exposed to, good or bad, they pick up, correct? And that can follow through for lifelong consequences.
For sure. So I'm sure you've noticed little kids are like sponges, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Anything you do, the little eyes and little ears are on you, and
they repeat
they're gonna
whatever
mimic.
You say.
Exactly. And so we have an opportunity to model good behavior for our children, and when we're modeling that good behavior, they're going to take that and use it in their development. It's a phenomenon that's been studied a lot, and so it's really vital that when we have those little eyes and ears on us, that we're modeling the behavior we want to see repeated.
We have a graphic here, Amy, that I wanted to show people about the impacts on children when they're exposed to discrimination at a young age. So some of these things, take us through this. How about prolonged stress? Kind of what does that look like?
So yeah, this is a really great graphic. So in pediatrics, we talk a lot about toxic stress. And so for stress, there are certain times when stress is a good thing, when our fight or flight kind of kicks in a dangerous situation. But when we stay in that chronic, prolonged, acute stress and we never get that reprieve, we start to see things like a weakened immune system. We start to see behavioral health issues. We start seeing mental health issues. We start seeing physical health issues. And these are things that we don't want children to experience just because of the level of ramifications on health it can cause. What
are some things that parents can do to help mitigate these things?
So I think part of it is, being comfortable with the uncomfortable. We all have to kind of look at our own personal biases, get educated, and then start talking to our kids about these things. We don't give kids enough credit sometimes on the things that they can understand and learn. So this is going to be different for every family. It might be watching Sesame Street together and then kind of discussing racism. It might be reading children's stories about different accomplishments that different groups have kind of had throughout the years. So it's going to look different for everyone. I think the most important thing is that we acknowledge it and that we talk to our children about it. It's something that's not going away. It's something that we don't want our children to experience, and it's certainly not something we want them to perpetuate.
I'm interested too about, this is one study taken from a broad-ranging survey. Do you see next steps for you and your team, things that you would like to go further with and find more about?
Yes, so that is actually something that OSU and in collaboration with me and some studies is looking at, is some of the different components on how is discrimination playing a factor in these different experiences children are having. I think it's just vitally important with where we are in the policy level for us to understand these so we can mitigate them better.
Well, Amy, thank you so much. This is enlightening. I read the article in fatherly.com, really wanted to know more, and I appreciate you coming on and explaining more of what you've been doing.
Thank you so much.
Coming up next here at 9:20 on this Friday, a big weekend at Expo Square. It's always a big weekend. They're always doing something out there, right? We're getting a live look at the Tulsa Auto Show this time. And Reba McEntire announces a new project, the role Garth Brooks had to play in her latest book.